The 7th generation Volkswagen Golf, or the Mark 7, probably won't go down in history as being the best Golf Volkswagen has ever produced. Depending on who you ask, me for example, that honor still resides between the 1st and 2nd generation cars. Opinions vary, but a lot of very significant things happened to Volkswagen during the Mark 7 Golf's watch. Back in 2015, or the model year 2015, which is when the 7th generation Golf was introduced for North America, Volkswagen went through a little bit of a tough time. You might recall Dieselgate. So essentially, when it arrived, when the 7th generation Golf arrived, TDI and diesel engines went away for North America. A few other things happened. One of them was the introduction of the Golf Alltrack, which proved to be extremely popular for buyers who didn't want an SUV but wanted something a little bit more rugged. Yes, it is essentially a sport wagon that's been safaried. This is my personal sport wagon. I would have liked an Alltrack, but I just couldn't afford one. Boo-hoo for me. The point is, it proved to be very popular. Another thing also happened during the Mark 7 Golf's watch is the most significant of them all, I think, and it kind of ties into Dieselgate, and that's the introduction of the e-Golf. Here was the first true demonstration that Volkswagen was very serious about electrifying its product line. It too, depending on the market, proved to be extremely popular. Now, I am standing between, well, two very cool Volkswagens, if you will, the Mark 7 Golf Sport Wagon, as well as a GTI. This is a 2021 GTI Autobahn, essentially the final GTI that we will get for the 7th generation Golf in Canada. I have to segue here and say that unfortunately, for the Mark 8 Golf, which is already offered in some European markets, well, only the GTI and the Golf R for the 8th generation will be offered in North America. That's right. If you didn't know already, unfortunately, you will not be able to replace your Mark 7 Golf Sport Wagon with a Mark 8 because we're not going to get it. Same for a regular Golf. If you want anywhere in between, you'll have to get a Volkswagen Taos. Anyhow, the idea behind this video is to, well, a little bit of a farewell tour of this 2021 GTI. It's not that you've not seen one before, but we'll do the usual walk around and then we'll take it for a spin and point out a few reasons why this is still an incredibly good and fun car. Yes, 2021 is a farewell to the Mark 7 GTI. Interestingly, Canada and the US have decided to take slightly different routes in commemorating, celebrating, or whatnot, the final Mark 7 GTI. In the US, you can still get a base model GTI for $28,695. And so that's the S. There's the SE as well, if I'm not mistaken. And then there's the top line Autobahn, which retails for $36,945. In Canada, well, there's only one trim, and it's the Autobahn. Interestingly though, it retails for $35,995. I don't know how that happened. I don't think I missed anything as far as the specifications are concerned. But if you want a Mark 7 GTI, brand new one, you get everything, kitchen, sink, and all. Namely, now these 18-inch Belvedere wheels, the leather seats, which, I mean, if I had to complain, that's the only thing I would complain about. No plaid in Canada, only in the US for now. Well, at the moment, as long as that'll be available. The Autobahn also includes the panoramic sunroof, LED lights, Fender audio, 8-inch display on the inside, and navigation. 5 colors available. Yep, in Canada, cornflower blue, as is what you see right now, which is a fantastic, wonderful color for this car. It just suits it so well. It's so playful. It's perfect. I have to say, it is the color. My second choice would be a Tornado Red, which is an absolute classic color for any GTI. Pure white also works quite well. There's dark iron blue, which is a little bit more subtle, but still very sophisticated. And then maybe, in my opinion, the worst color, but that's just me, which is black. Boring old black. Do we want to keep going around? Final look? Just take one final lap together. of the Mark 7 GTI. Look, it's beautiful. LED lights, the red details in the grille and the headlights. It's just superb. Big bad vented discs all around, red calipers. It's big tailpipes in the back. I love those tailpipes. And a unique little spoiler here. All parts I think that I might take off this car and slap onto my own wagon. I suppose I'll just show you the trunk quickly. There's a beautiful badge, isn't it? 493 liters. It seems a little generous. There isn't really any room under there, but it's very accessible, wide opening. Typical GTI hatchback stuff. Beauty with the GTI, much like a Civic Type R or most hatchbacks, as you can actually live with the car. I mean, the GTI still works as a family car when you have two kids like this. There's decent trunk space. That's why I got a Golf, but I prefer the Sport Wagon because I want a little bit more boot. You know what I'm saying? Oof, sorry about that. As always, look, Volkswagen cars have the slight premium inkling, and it always shows in the fit, the finish, the details. Here are the leather seats. They are fantastic. Contrast stitching is gorgeous. These fat bolsters, wonderful. I think the driver's side is 12-way? No, it doesn't seem right. 10-way power adjustable, including lumbar. On that side, you only have the seat back that's power adjustable. The base is manual. Beautiful, beautiful steering wheel. I mean, the layout is typically Volkswagen. It's just, everything is in the right place and just works. There isn't really any reason to start her up or do the inside tour, but see, this might disappear as well and end up in my Sport Wagon. I don't know. We'll see what Volkswagen Canada says when and if I return this car. Anyway, beautiful gauges. What more can be said? 8-inch display with nice hard buttons on either side. What can I show you? Yeah, that's pretty bad, but that's just now, right? 6 minutes of driving, 2 kilometers. That's not reality. Here's your drive mode button. This is important. So you have your 5 drive modes. I am, as you can see, in custom. And the cool thing about the custom drive mode is you can fully and really customize absolutely everything. I'll tell you more about it in a few moments, but the dynamic chassis has to be in comfort. Steering in normal. Sport isn't that bad. Anyway, front differential lock, mechanical. Locking differential up front is fantastic. Drivetrain sport, just take a little bit more. Engine sound has to be an eco because it's just too annoying and so incredibly fake. And that's pretty much it. Anyhow, I think it's time to go for a drive. Let's go. I know officially now I sound like an old man, and it's kind of terrible about the engine noise. But look, when I'm going to put it into sport, it sounds all kinds of wrong. It's too deep, and even at lower engine RPMs, like at 2500, there's still like a little bit of a rumble being pumped in through the speakers. I don't know, I just find it incredibly annoying, which is why it has to go into eco. Now, while we're talking about the adjustable things, I mean, what I love about the GTI, and it's always been the case, is that it's kind of the gentleman of hot, compact, sporty cars. I mean, with the chassis, the dynamic chassis set into comfort, especially in the area where I live, I get the exact amount of damping no matter what, even on an on-ramp. I mean, lean is limited, the chassis feels really good, well sorted. The multi-link suspension in the back is keeping the wheels in contact, or the tires in contact with the road. I mean, it's just good, playful fun without any compromises or any punishment whatsoever. I mean, normal is good as well. I mean, I don't know why I just switched it, but it works if the roads where you live are a little bit smoother than where I am. And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, sport is for track only, especially, you know, if you live in a crappy area, where the roads are crappy, I should say, as they are in my hood. I'm gonna go back to normal, comfort, I mean. And look, the thing, it's beautiful. The GTI is just so enjoyable to drive, and I mean, the contrast is all the more pronounced when I step out of my own Golf with the little 1.8T and into the GTI with, oh, that felt good too. the electronically controlled mechanical limited slip differential. It's just so great. Oh, such a tossable, fun car. Where was I? Oh yeah, 2-liter turbo. Oh, yes. 228 horsepower from 5,000 to 6,200 RPM, I think. And right into traffic. And 258 pound-feet of torque from only 1,500 RPM all the way to 4,400 RPM. So essentially what that means is that this car pulls all the time. There's just a small, tiny little gap, 600 RPM, where there's a little bit of a lull, but you can't even feel it. You have to know that it's there. Look, the numbers are fantastic. The sense of speed, which is one of the things I love the most about these smaller, not so powerful, but so enjoyable and exploitable cars. The sense of speed is so heightened in this car. Maybe, you know, the engine sound set to sport, it's even more tuned up. I don't know. Because, look, it feels fast, but it really isn't that fast. 0 to 100 kilometer an hour time is somewhere around just over 6.5 seconds, which is anything but fast. When the boost kicks in and the torque starts rolling in, oh, it's so nice. It's so, the curve is so beautiful as the torque and the power piles on. The engine, just a happy little 2-liter turbo. It's phenomenal. I mean, I talked a little bit about the chassis and the dampers, and they're great. Steering is probably the other thing that stands out the most, especially when I step out of my sport wagon. In contrast, my sport wagons, I think it's probably about 74 turns lock to lock. This is 2.1 turns lock to lock. The progressive assistance is extraordinary, but the first tug on the wheel, like a quarter turn, compared to the Golf, I'm up on some kind of cement median off-roading in the GTI. I'm exaggerating only slightly. But, you know, the assistance is wonderful. And it's always on. There's no real hole in the center. There might be a little tiny bit of a gap, but it's very easy to manage. Speaking of managing, the 6-speed manual transmission, just like the typical manual transmission you can expect from Volkswagen or Porsche or BMW, Honda. It's just really good and easy to live with. Well, as manual transmissions die off one by one, I think only the good ones remain, which I suppose is a blessing. Finally, I guess, the big vented discs on this thing are fantastic. Brake pedal feel is extraordinary. The power is strong, it's immediate. Such a good little car, such a good little car. I don't think, and it only weighs like 3,200 pounds, so it always feels very alive and lively. I'm trying to think, electronically controlled mechanical limited slip differential can send 100% of the power to one side or the other, meaning that it's always going to put, you know, the power down, or as much of it as possible, until the tires break loose when the torque kicks in. Look, if you're thinking about a brand new GTI, Mark 7 especially, well, now is your chance, and it's your final chance. There aren't that many hot hatches left in this price range. I mean, a Mazda 3 Turbo isn't the same, and it's all-wheel drive. I mean, otherwise, you're looking at, say, a used Focus ST, which is a no-no, a used Civic Si, which is an even bigger no-no. What else is there? I don't know. This thing is just extraordinary. Whoa. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. I'm done. Right after this tight left-hander, I am done. Okay, that's it. Oh, what a fabulous car.